So let's take a look at this image. And you guys have seen that before. You got gray rock with gray rock. So imagine just a big boulder. And all of a sudden, out of the middle of nowhere, you have this little white stripe through the boulder. Have you seen that before? Okay. That's a perfect example of an igneous intrusion. Now, sometimes these intrusions can be on very large scales. In the case of a boulder, or in this case here, this is on a very small scale where it's really just razor thin. So, again, when we're thinking about geologic terms, this is very, very small scale. That might be, 2 or 3 inches thick. So we're really talking here maybe 2 or 3 inches at the most. So it's not very thick. But again, we think back to what we see happening here. Igneous intrusions completely make sense. And when we see these in rocks, it tells us that at some point in time there had to have been volcanic activity. And maybe not volcanic, but definitely magmatic. So meaning that there's definitely some type of magma rising to the surface. Collectively, we call that volcanism. For those of you that are Star Trek fans, it's not UL, but rather OL. And volcanism, meaning that we have basically magma coming to the surface. Now, these intrusions we call plutons. And that's basically the word that we have right here, plutons. And plutons can come in a lot of different forms, and that's basically what we're going to look at today, all these different forms and what they actually look like. And we have some real examples we're going to share with you guys. Okay, I want you to look at this diagram, and I want you to tell me some things that you notice. What do you think you're seeing? Okay, so we have volcanoes erupting, and what else do we see? One of them is straight up. Okay. Oh, dried out? Okay, which one is that? One on the right. One on the right. Okay, so the black stuff is the one that's dried up. Okay, so this is basically, the black is the cooled or solidified. Now we've become solid rock. Okay, so the red is our currently active molten magma coming to the surface. And we have some new terms for you guys here. We have a whole bunch of this that we're going to go over here. The batholith. Think of it like a bathtub. So right here is your batholith. That's your batholith. Tell me how the batholith forms. What essentially is the batholith? Yeah, it's solid rock. When what? Not so much, but it's definitely formed from something. What is it formed from? Okay. What do we have right here? Magma chamber. And that shape almost looks like the shape of the batholith, correct? So then tell me how a batholith forms. What is it? There we go. That's what I was looking for. It's basically the solidified magma chamber. Now guys, keep in mind these magma chambers are very large. And these are geologic features that can stretch over hundreds of kilometers. So when we think about a batholith, we're talking almost on a regional scale. Some magma chambers can be as large as the entire state of Indiana. Okay, the next one is a stock. So right there's our stock. So what is a stock? It's a little louder. Yeah. It's basically the remnants of an old volcano. Can you tell me where we have a stock, or at least multiple stocks, in the United States? I guarantee that most of you guys have seen pictures of this. Have we ever been out to Wyoming? Wow, really? Nobody? You guys are killing me. Devil's Tower is a perfect example of the stock, of an old stock. How many of you guys have heard of Devil's Tower before? What is it famous for? What do you do at the Devil's Tower besides stare at the giant piece of granite? Climbing. Okay, so you got a lot of rock climbers, and they go here because it's basically a straight vertical face. Now, some of this kind of interesting here. You guys see something unique about the structure of this rock?
Rigid.
It looks rigid, right? It looks like it has a bunch of ridges. Almost looks like the can't think right now. One of the Ruffles chips, right? So, but what you're seeing here in the ridges is basically these columns of solidified magma or lava. And so you actually get these multiple columns that are forming. And it's completely flat on top. And it has a nice little flat top. It's somewhat been weathered, so it's kind of round, but it's basically a flat top. And then you see all the debris underneath. So this is basically where you have an old volcano where the actual surrounding body of the volcano has been weathered away. And what's left over is the super weather-resistant interior. And so that's basically an example of a stock. You guys have seen pictures from Utah and some of the like Monument Valley. It's basically another national park where there's a lot of geologic structures, and they usually have a bunch of these that are just scattered. You have this pillar that just comes up, and it's surrounded by just a bunch of debris, and then another maybe 2 or 3 miles away is another one standing up. And those are all examples of stocks, where you have basically all this lava coming to the surface and it solidifies.